Welcome back to another video in the power of the BI. Welcome back to another video in the power of the BI. Today, we are going to be talking real estate. That's right, today we're going to be talking real estate. I think it's very, very important that our real estate professionals understand just how important Power BI is, just as it is in other industries. I don't want the real estate industry to feel like it is being left out. Those of you guys that are out there in the real estate industry, I want you to seriously consider learning Power BI. You can learn from me, you can learn from someone else, it doesn't matter, but you need to understand, you need to learn Power BI. The reason why you need to learn Power BI is simply because it is, I'm not gonna call it the wave of the future, it is the future, and the future is now. Before I go too much further, what I do want to definitely clarify, define, make sure everyone understands, house rules, whatever you want to call it. I want to make sure that everyone understands that I am not affiliated with Microsoft in any means whatsoever, outside of I do have several Microsoft certifications in it that includes, not in addition to, but that includes Power BI. The reason why I say that is because Power BI is a Microsoft product, just as is Microsoft Excel, Windows, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Publisher, all of those types of things that we use on a daily basis when it comes to business, when it comes to personal, that's what it is. But Power BI is not a personal application. It is it's a business application, and it's a business intelligence tool. So for those of you that have never heard of what's called artificial intelligence, there's a thing out there today called artificial intelligence. Google it, look it up, ChatGPT it, whatever you want to call it. But if you ChatGPT it, you probably are familiar with artificial intelligence. But Power BI is a business intelligence tool, right? Very similar to artificial intelligence, but on the business side. Pretty much what you do with Power BI, what you do with business intelligence, you take the data that the company has inherited over, a period of time, whether it be a month, 6 months, a year, 10 years, 100 years, whatever the case may be. You take that data and then you start, you create stories behind the data. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But again, I want to definitely clarify that I am not in any way affiliated with Microsoft and its tool. Microsoft's tool is Power BI. My class is Power of the BI, Power of the Business Intelligence. Understanding the business intelligence is going to give you power. Power BI today, right now, is leveling the playing field. There are individuals out there that have super MBAs. When I say super MBAs, I'm talking about the Ivy MBAs. I'm talking about the top 25 school, business schools, MBAs. If you learn Power BI here in a relatively short period of time, it levels the playing field to where I don't know where it would put you in the company as far as on the rise of becoming CEO of the company, but it definitely can put you on a level playing field to where you are financially, you're receiving a financial compensation in a way that you probably would not be able to at a young career. When I say a young career, I'm not going to get into that because that's going to throw some of you guys off, and I don't want to mislead anyone. So what I will say is learning Power BI can make you can compensate you rather well. We'll talk about that here shortly as well. But what I want to do is clarify that I am not in any way a member associated with, an employee. I am not even a contractor at this point with Microsoft. I have had several contracts to where I've worked on contracts with organizations with Microsoft. But as of this point, I am not even a contractor. But Power BI is a Microsoft tool. my course, Power of the BI, is not part of Microsoft. Now, again, I've said before in other videos, Mr. Microsoft, if you're out there, you're listening, you want to be a part of Power of the BI, you want Power of the BI to be a part of your grand scheme of things, I am willing to listen. Every business has a price. And of course, I have one. Of course, Power of the BI has one. But with that said, right now, that's not what it is. Right now, what we're doing is we are teaching individuals Power BI that want to learn Power BI. And that is probably why you are here. So today I am speaking primarily to my real estate professionals. And we're going to be looking at how to tell a story using Power BI for real estate professionals. We'll look at some other professionals, some other industries here a little later. And I've got some videos out there to where, you know, you can look at some other industries and some other types of professions. But today we're talking all real estate. We're talking all real estate. We're simply telling the story using Power BI for real estate professionals. Because I often get questions from those of my friends that are in the real estate industry, and they're asking me, you know, Terai, you know, what can I do with Power BI? You know, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a real estate consultant. I work for a real estate company. I work for a firm, but I don't really do real estate. You know, what can I really do with Power BI? And what I'm going to tell you is everyone can use Power BI because Power BI is infiltrating. Power BI is kind of like an undercover agent, and they're infiltrating every organization. I'm telling you, I know that many organizations have other business intelligence tools. I've used several of them. I am not going to call them out, but Power BI is my favorite. It's not the easiest to learn, but it's not hard to learn. And at the same time, what I like about it is that it gives you the ability to make it do what it do, baby. It gives you an opportunity to make it do what it do. That's a little Ray Charles, you guys don't really understand who that is. But anyway, I digress. So we're gonna move right on into what this is, because I don't want to spend a long time here talking. I want to delve into Power BI and what it can do for our real estate pros. So we are looking at we're looking at a report here, and this is a Power BI report. You know, in many cases you'll call this a dashboard for those that really don't know the difference between a report and a dashboard. This is actually a report. It was published to Power BI service, which takes it out to the web. The reason why I wanted to do it this way today, showing you the Power BI on the web, Power BI service, app.powerbi.com. They're all the same. If you hear app.powerbi.com, you hear Power BI service, you hear Power BI on the web. They're all the same. That's what it is. App.powerbi.com is where it's located. Power BI service is what it's called, and Power BI for the web is the common term that, you know, general, you know, individuals, period, will say something is out on the web. The reason why I wanted to show it this way today is because I often have demonstrations in the videos, and I'll many times say I don't necessarily show the presentation or do the presentation on the web, on app.powerbi.com, on Power BI service. I typically do it on Power BI desktop, because on Power BI desktop is where you actually create the Power BI reports. Now, can you create Power BI reports out in Power BI service? The answer to that is you absolutely can. I don't like creating reports out on Power BI service, out on app.powerbi.com, out on Power BI web, just for the simple fact that it's not as robust as creating a report on Power BI desktop. So therefore, you know, you have more things that you can create, more variations, more formatting that you can do when it comes to creating the report on Power BI desktop. But again, you can create a super nice report on out in service, powerbi.com, app.powerbi.com, Power BI service, or out on Power BI web, out on the web. But the reason why I wanted to show this today is because this is typically the end result. Now, there are ways to even take this even further when it comes to creating a Power BI report. I mean, you can set your schedule refreshes, a lot of things that you have to do. The Power BI administration, Power BI admin, you do out at app.powerbi.com. You can set who can see the report, who cannot see the report. A whole lot of things you can do out on Power BI service. So when it comes to developing, typically you're not going to develop out on app.powerbi.com. However, this is where the Power BI report goes when you want to share it with the community within your organization. The reason why I specify it that way, the community within your organization, is simply because everyone that has access to the internet does not have access to your Power BI report when it's published out for your organization. Only those that have your business domain, i.e., let's say you work for ABC Company, and your name is James Doe. So if your email address is jdoe@abccompany.com, you will have access to the Power BI report. Others that have abc.com email domains, they'll be able to have access as well. Now, just because you have an email domain that follows the company does not mean you will have access. It means you have the ability to have access. The reason why I put it that way is because everyone does not have access to the Power BI report, except for those that the Power BI admin gives permissions to. So if the Power BI admin of your organization does not give you permission, you cannot access the Power BI report. But let's just say, for the lack of any better thing, you are one of the individuals that have access to Power BI within your organization. Hey, let's say you actually created the Power BI report. I'm not going to go out on a limb right now and say that you are the Power BI admin, because I'm under the belief, I don't like to say assuming, but I'm under the belief that you are looking into Power BI. And if you're looking into Power BI, we're looking into it for yourself, to learn, to better yourself, to upskill yourself, or you're looking for tools to take back to your organization. You're looking into Power BI, and you definitely probably not, and I say definitely probably are not the Power BI administrator at this point. But at the end of the day, this is where the report goes when we publish it. It goes out to Power BI service. Now, let's say those that have access to the Power BI report, this is what they will see. Then there's some other things that you can do as well. You can actually make this an app. And the reason why you would make this an app is because you may not, where we have this donut chart in the upper left quadrant, you may not want to see that donut chart, but you may want to see that column chart that's down in the bottom right quadrant. So you can say, hey, I want to just pinpoint an area that I want to see, and I don't want to see the rest of this stuff. So by creating an app, now you as an individual can create a dashboard. That's a whole nother piece. The reason why I throw that out there is because when someone sees this, they say, hey, you got a dashboard, or you're creating dashboards. No, you're creating the ability to create dashboards by creating Power BI reports. But just because you have a Power BI report does not mean that it's a dashboard. Now, that's something that we're not going to go too deep into right now, but I just wanted to make that clarification. So what we're looking at here is a Power BI report. And we have, where's my little mouse thing at? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. We have 11 different pieces that we can observe visually. And we call each one of these pieces that we can observe visually visualizations, right? So with the Power BI report, you place visualizations into the report. So I don't necessarily have to read the report. I can take a glimpse at the report to determine, what's going on here with this company. This particular company here is a real estate company, right? And this is the reason, these visualizations are reasons why a real estate company may want to take a look and integrate Power BI into their organization. Now, these are not the only visualizations. These are some very, very common visualizations that Microsoft provide. This, let's start down here at the bottom, because this is probably the most common visual that everyone knows about, and it's a column chart. If you've ever been in the 5th grade, or you have a 5th grade child or niece or nephew, or someone that you've helped with their math over the past, I don't know, 30 years, you would know that this is a column chart, right? Because it is going straight up, like it is a column holding up walls in a building. So that's why it's called a column chart. But here in this column chart, we're talking about the square feet of different buildings. So now we see down here at the bottom, the descriptions here on what we call the x-axis. We see these are different buildings within the organization, right? Or different buildings that the real estate company may own, or different buildings that the real estate company may lease out. Whatever the case may be, it's different buildings, and we're looking at square feet. The reason why we like to look at square feet when it comes to real estate companies is because pretty much real estate is based on a price of square foot price, right? So if it's based on a square foot price, we may not want to go in and do calculations and see, oh, well, this company has X number of square feet. Well, this building has X number of square feet, and this building has a cost that is more than the rest of the other buildings. Let's find out what is the square foot cost. So here, that's what we're looking at. In this particular column chart, we're looking at the different columns within, not the different columns, I'm sorry, the different buildings that are either being owned or rented within the company. And we're looking at the cost per square foot, right? Or how much it is per price per square foot. So this definitely is a reason why, a major reason why real estate companies would want to look at bringing Power BI into their organization, okay? Now, if we come over to the left and we see another common chart, this common chart here is a pie chart, and we always talk about things in pie. You know, I want a piece of the pie. How much of the pie is mine? If we look here, we see that there are 4 different pieces here on the pie. Count by ownership status by property type. And basically we have different property types, and we have different ownership statuses. And this is telling us this is giving us that story of ownership and property type. And we can see here that all 4 property types here are pretty much even. In the real world, is that going to be a real scenario? Probably not, right? Probably not. But in this particular case, you know, just for grins and giggles, we have 4 ownership types. We have 4 property types, and these 4 property types are the company owns each 4 looks like almost equally. But at the end of the day, what I want you to understand is this is just a pie chart, and it is something else that is being able to tell a story for those in the real estate industry. Now, here we are looking at another type of entity within real estate, but here we're looking at projects that are being built, because we know that this chart here is showing a sum of actual costs by project name, right? So we're looking at how much does this thing cost per project. So we've got the projects to the left on the y-axis, and we have the cost of these projects on the x-axis. Now, just in reverse of the column chart, this is considered to be a bar chart. And what a bar chart does is, a bar chart is just like a bar in a house, and you put in your glass or your cups or your wine or your liquor or whatever you put on a bar. Bottles of water, it doesn't matter to me, but you can place it on a bar. So going horizontally, this is a bar chart, right? So at the end of the day, we are able to see the cost of each project what the cost across the x-axis, and then we're able to see the actual projects across, well, going vertically, so that we can see how much each one of those projects are respectively, right? That, again, that is another reason why we would use a bar chart in the real estate industry. Now, the right here in the upper left quadrant, we see something that's very similar to the pie chart, but it's not a pie chart, but it pretty much tells the similar story as a pie chart. But this particular visual is called a donut chart because it looks like a donut. It took the hole out the middle, like as we see down here, we got the pie chart, it's filled in, but up here, it doesn't have it. But at the end of the day, it tells a very similar story as the pie chart. But here with the donut chart, now we see that the donut chart is the percentage of total by category. So each one of the categories within the real estate company, each one of the categories are reflected by the different colors of the donut chart. Now you see some colors that are here that are in the legend for the categories, but they're not represented on the donut chart, and that's because they're either at 0 or they are at a very, very small amount to where it's not being shown here on the donut chart. But if the amounts were bigger, you would be able to see the other colors as well, or if the colors are even more than 0, because the values could actually be 0 here in this particular case. And if the values have any type of number outside of just plain 0, we would be able to see where it would be represented here in the donut chart. Now, going across the top, what we have here, we have 3 different visualizations. There are 3 different visuals that look very, very similar, and they are similar. These are called slicers, and with these slicers, now we can see different parts of the company as we look at get into the details of each one of the entities. So we've got the properties. These are all of the different properties of the company. So now we can see how each one of the companies are reflected when it comes to sum of actual cost, square feet per dollars per square feet, dollars per square foot. I'm sorry. The count of ownership by status, and now we see it's only one status because it's just that one building, right? And the donut chart is only reflected. So we're able to see, we could break this thing down by property, just by one single property. So if you're in the real estate industry, you already know if you can break your projects down and you're able to see it, just that simple. I mean, you can take your game to the next level. So again, like I say, this is a slicer. So here we slice by property, and now we are going to slice by location or region, and we can say, hey, we've got projects in New York City, we've got projects in Miami, we've got projects in Dallas, we've got projects in Chicago. And basically, at the end of the day, what you're seeing here is with Power BI, the visualizations are interactive. Depending on what you're looking at, each one of the visuals are going to change based on what you quote unquote slice them by, right? That's why I like Power BI, because it's interactive and you can make this thing do a whole lot. You can make it do a whole lot. So we looked at it by property, we looked at it by region or location. Let's see, what is this? Now we have, I think this is by state. And I'm not quite sure why I put the state in there because, so we did it by city. Here we're slicing by city, and here we are slicing by state. And if I take out New York, now, as you know, there's probably no Dallas, New York, but I didn't really make the relationships to where if it wasn't a city called that, it wouldn't show up, because at the end of the day, I was just trying to get a visualization out for you to be able to see. So here we can slice by city, and here we can slice by state. Now over here I've got high, low, close, and volume. Now because I don't have a date slicer on here where I can pick a particular date, these numbers are not going to change. They're not going to be interactive. The reason why is because these are actual stock prices for a real estate company. So let's say that the high for the day was 118.07, the low for the day was 115.24, the close for the day was 116.69, and the volume was 1.80 million. So if I had dates on here, they would change based on what the different high, low, close, and volume were. And to be clear, these are stock prices: stock high, stock low, stock close, and stock volume, right? If I had a date slicer on here, it would change. I forgot or ran out of space, or I don't know why I didn't put a date slicer on here. But at the end of the day, that's what these numbers are representing. So for those of you guys out there that are in the real estate industry, you see how Power BI can benefit you. I highly suggest that you learn Power BI. I highly suggest that you learn Power BI. I am holding a free Power BI webinar, and you can follow the link, in the description. Register for my free webinar. It's a totally free webinar. I give away a free workbook that goes along with the webinar, so that you can take notes. It's digital and it's interactive. I'm not gonna say nobody else is out there doing it, because I don't want to throw shade like that. But I don't think there's anybody else out there that has a free webinar with a free workbook to teach you Power BI. I don't think so. But anyway, so this has been my real estate presentation here for Power of the BI. I look forward to seeing you win again in the next video.